Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah. They are best friends.
Meeting will come to order, please. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting have been satisfied. Will you please turn off electronic equipment as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Attention, salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Johanna, call the roll, please.
Mayor Becker,
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo,
Here,
Commissioner Blumberg,
I am here.
We have before us for approval our minutes of our meetings of September 26. What is your pleasure?
I'll make a motion, we approve those.
Second?
Mayor Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo,
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yes.
We have before us a proclamation to be presented to the county. Tomorrow is Knockout Opiate Abuse Day. Lisa, would you like to read this? Thank you.
Okay. Proclamation for Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, October 6th, 2017. Whereas New Jersey is in the midst of a life-threatening opioid abuse epidemic, and whereas the Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey has designated October 6, 2017 as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, an initiative with a dual purpose to educate families of the addictive qualities of opioid pain medicines and their link to heroin abuse rates in New Jersey, and communicate to physicians information on safer prescribing messages found in the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention guidelines for prescribing opiates, which include considering other therapies, setting realistic treatment goals with patients, and discussing with patients the pros and cons of opioids. And whereas the State Senate and General Assembly jointly resolve that October 6th shall be permanently designated as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day in New Jersey in order to raise awareness about the dangers of and the link between opioid abuse and heroin addiction, and to educate healthcare providers, community leaders, state lawmakers, and members of the public about the opioid abuse epidemic and its effects throughout the state of New Jersey and across the country. And whereas Join Together Atlantic County supports initiatives designed to raise awareness about opioid abuse in New Jersey and take steps to prevent addiction. Therefore, be it resolved that October 6, 2017 be recognized as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day in Margate City, New Jersey. I would just also like to add that this topic and campaign is something that's come near and dear to my heart because I recently lost a classmate of my daughter who was like a son to me, who most of you probably know. His father grew up in this community, and he was 21 years old. He was the second person who passed away at a young age from this community. And we need to do whatever we can as a community to save our children. Our children are dying, and it's not just our children, it's our peers, it's adults, and it needs to stop. So I'm thankful and appreciative that Johanna asked me to read this proclamation. We will hopefully be distributing information to the community. I know there's a website that individuals can go to if they wish to volunteer and do their part, drugfreenewjersey.org. Hopefully Fred can put this on our website. And as an aside, our annual health fair, which will be for employees of Ventnor, Margate, and Longport on October 24th. I've invited the people from Atlantic County Prevention, along with Enlightened Solutions, and with another organization, Stop the Heroin, who help to provide scholarships for sober living houses for those people who are coming out of rehab programs. So I think it's incumbent upon all of us, no matter what we do, in whatever aspect. We need to educate our children at a young age, help those people suffering from addiction, because these are good people, and we just need to do our part. So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. I'd like to make an announcement so that everybody knows. We're very honored that the Thai School in Margate has been selected as a National Blue Ribbon School for the 2017 school year. One of 3 in the state, probably, I think, one of 3 middle schools. This is based on an overall school atmosphere, test scores, and our children did very, very high in test scores. We scored very high in the other things as well. This is a great honor for the City of Margate, and especially for the school system. They will be sending representatives to Washington, D.C. on November 6th for national recognition. I personally am very proud, obviously, and I'd like to thank the administrators, the teachers, all staff, the kids. It's a great school system, and thank you. John?
Mayor, yes, may I make a comment also on that?
You certainly may.
I would echo your thoughts. It's a proud day for the people of Margate, for our Thai school, middle school, to receive the designation of a blue ribbon. And as the mayor said, one of 3 middle schools in the state of New Jersey, the only middle school or school in Atlantic County, which shows the product, the education that's being delivered to our young kids. And that is a responsibility of us, all the taxpayers, as we benefited when we were young and people were paying for our education through tax dollars. It's not only the staff, the principal, the staff, and the teachers, and the kids in the school, but it is a total community effort. And what I think is so important about this, and as Commissioner Blumberg, I know, boasts pride with this as being a graduate and going all through Margate school system like I did, his mother being my teacher and a teacher in the district for a long time. It's a good feeling, and it brings community back to our town. And I think it's important that as we move forward with a great school system, it will energize and bring young families back into our town, and that's what we want to see. So I think this is a big step, an important step for us in Margate, and it all goes back to the Thai school principal and staff to get this achievement. Back probably 10 years ago, Ross School had not a blue ribbon designation, had a star school designation. So it's prominent that our educators in this community work to strive to deliver the best product to our kids, and I'm very proud of it. So I just wanted to make that statement, Mayor, for the record. And the one last thing I do want to mention, I would like and I know it's on your mind and Commissioner Blumberg's mind, that we schedule a date where we can bring the staff, welcome the staff into this chamber, and the principal and the superintendent, and honor them for their hard work.
With your permission, I would like to plan to ask them if they can come to our next meeting,
The
which would be
19th?
the 19th.
I'm in favor of that.
Mario, you agree?
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. At this time, Mr. Deeney will give his Dune update.
I started 3 years ago, Commissioners, on September, I have it here on the first page, September 4th, 2014. What I thought would be our 1 or 2, 3 meeting report to you, which has now gone on periodically for in excess now of 3 years. So I've kept it in a chronological format, It gets reprinted each time we add to it. There are a few copies here that I'll make available to the public, and they can see it on our website. It was to be put on our website as of 3 o'clock this afternoon, and I assume it is there now for the public to read. But the latest edition is actually dated October 6th, which is actually tomorrow, but I'm going to read it today. Although hampered a bit by weather late in September, which caused the Army Corps to lift the feeder pipe along the beach and then lay it again after the storm, the Corps contractors are now again pumping. They have a few more days left using the subline in place, after which they will move to Longport using a newly installed subline. Once pumping begins in Longport, working north, it will take about 19 days to reach the Margate border, and the remainder of Margate will be pumped at that time. Crossovers have been completed at many street ends. Mats have been laid from the bulkheads to the dunes at these locations. Beach grades between the bulkheads and the dunes have been restored to substantially the levels they were prior to project construction, which together with the temporary drainage installations will prevent the ponding which occurred earlier this summer. The temporary stormwater management system required by the court is still being installed. The first mounted pump has been installed at Delavan Avenue. It and others will be placed on crane mats and surrounded by fencing. The discharge line will run under the dune and into the ocean. The pumps will be programmed by the Army Corps to start and stop based on water accumulation from rain events. There will be 13 temporary outfalls when completed. These will serve only until the permanent system is installed in the spring of 2018. In order to complete the permanent drainage system by late spring, a number of things must happen in the next 45 days. Among them are an executed agreement between the state and Margate, a completed drainage design satisfactory to the state and Margate, and a contract executed by the Army Corps and paid for by the Army Corps for actual construction. Margate has had considerable input into the actual design of the permanent drainage system, and our engineers and negotiators have held the ground on key points in the design and in the final drainage agreement. The final negotiation session is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Among the key points are these. The drainage system will be paid for entirely with federal funds. Actual work on the street ends to properly tie into the beach system will be bid and contracted by Margate and fully reimbursed by the NJDEP. The drainage outfalls will be under the dunes and under the actual beach until a point where they empty into the ocean. The design is sufficient to meet a 100-year storm volume, sufficient to carry street rainwater swiftly to the ocean, vastly improving Margate's street end flooding problems in most instances. The beaches will no longer experience the ponding issues caused solely by the original drainage solution that Margate has known to be unsatisfactory throughout the court struggle. Margate has no continuing obligation, financial or otherwise, to undertake a beach fill re-nourishment. Margate will undertake normal maintenance responsibilities for the completed permanent drainage system, similar to the existing elements of our citywide drainage system. The state will agree to partner in the future should there be any capital costs associated with replacing or augmenting any or all parts of the system. The agreement is tentatively scheduled to be on the agenda for approval at the October 19th Commission meeting. This report, as you see, covers the existing conditions, the continuing construction of the temporary conditions that were required by the court because we took both the Army Corps and the state to court. So while it looked like to some that we lost, as the solicitor has pointed out in previous meetings, we won. Judge Mendez understood the dire situation, and he also understood that it could not be remedied the way it was designed. We're talking about millions of additional federal dollars put into this project to remedy a situation that we all knew should have been designed initially. But we benefited also because I am positive, and we're all positive, and it's confirmed by our long-term engineer, Ed, from Remington and Vernick, that our street drainage system will be vastly improved under all but the most dire situations. By agreeing, which our negotiators and Ed have insisted on, that we be able to do street end work to do a better tie-in system rather than just go through the bulkheads themselves, we vastly improve our street ends, and we will be entirely reimbursed by the New Jersey DEP. The federal government is not allowed to do any work under their guidelines west of the bulkhead. This is a beach project as far as they're concerned. That's fine, but the negotiation of why we need the drainage agreement is the state is going to be reimbursing us for the portion of it in the street ends that allow us to tie in. The Army Corps argued during the court proceedings that this was something that the city has known about for a long time and that we should have done something about. But no commission, prior or the existing commission, was willing and didn't want to, because they didn't have to, put $15 million into a street end drainage system. The cost estimates were $10 to $15 million, if I'm right, through the years. We are at the point where this all has to happen in the next 45 days. That is the agreement with the state, the finalization of the design, and the negotiation by the Army Corps to get a contract executed. It can happen. That's every key point that I know of that's to be in the agreement. We want to be open with the public so that they totally understand. There were a lot of questions the last couple of meetings. There's nothing else in the agreement. The key points are: we are not paying for it. We have no continuing obligation for renourishment. That has been, since day one, the stance that the commission has taken. We're almost there. Did I miss anything?
Very well stated.
Well done, Rich.
Okay. That's available. I have a few more copies if people want it. It's also available on the website.
Thank you again, Rich. At this point, we will open to public comment. You may 3 minutes to speak on any subject you want.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Before you jump on that timer, Mayor.
Too late, John.
Too late. Before you jump on the timer, there's a handout by the city clerk. And if any of you are curious what Alive and Well refers to, was the refusal to pass an ordinance banning pay-to-play. We spent over $500,000 of taxpayer money, and there's no ban. Let's do it now. Mayor, you are known by the company you keep. Thanks to rife nepotism and patronage, you've surrounded yourself with a cadre of grifters and gonifs. The cost to taxpayers is staggering, yet you refuse to initiate meaningful cost savings. The means to achieve this is, first, to downsize and right-size a bloated bureaucracy, and last, to initiate immediate shared services with Ventnor City. Running small towns in New Jersey is like running fiefdoms of corrupt nepotism and patronage. It must cease at once. Mayor, your steadfast refusal to address wholesale corruption can only end badly. It will be an ignominious, infamous legacy of lawlessness amongst your employees. It is intolerable and inexcusable. Any other mayor with a shred of integrity would step down to enable real reform and restructuring. Mayor, your apologist, Dini, can try as he may, but he can't turn a sow's ear into a silk purse. Iron will, intestinal fortitude, and a backbone rather than a wishbone are critical to reverse an out-of-control maelstrom of malignant malfeasance. It is not time for half measures or addled indecision and vacillation, but rather a steady, focused hand on the tiller. This mega snafu requires real planning and highly efficient execution. It requires an arcane mastery and grasp of administrative law and civil service regulations. Failure to follow proper procedures can and will result in millions of dollars of exposure down the road. Mayor, in your perpetual addled state of mind, your solicitor must step up to the plate to do what needs to be done. Dismissal without pay does not suffice. Passing the buck and letting the feds and/or Atlantic County prosecutor do the heavy lifting simply is not enough to protect the taxpayers. The city must exercise its right, duty, and obligation to make dismissals stick legally. It is the city that has the upper hand vis-a-vis the burden of proof. The difference between criminal and civil proof is light years apart. It's the difference between beyond a reasonable doubt and a mere preponderance of the evidence. The latter protects the city if, for a multitude of reasons, the criminal case falls apart or fails on a technicality or reversed for a host of reasons. It may pay to bring in an administrative law and civil service hearing specialist to ensure that the dismissal findings hold up on any and all appeals. Thank you very much.
Scott? You want to tell them that we have to pay the
Zero. John, before you leave, we have the most stringent pay-to-play ordinance in Atlantic County. Stricter than the state's pay-to-play, so you were wrong on that point.
Was it passed after the $500,000 was spent of taxpayers' money?
I don't know which $500,000 you're talking about, but it's been in effect for about 8 years. Aye.
I didn't see $500,000 in there.
Well, Mayor, just take, I realize that math isn't your strong suit, but take the amount that was awarded plus the legal fees, and it far exceeds $500,000 of inept incompetence on your part, sending a woman to do a man's job. Oh, not politically correct, but very true.
Reset.
Okay, moving on.
Anyway, come on, Joey. Name and address, please, in the microphone.
Joanne Stoloff, 430 North Nassau. What I want to speak to today is pickleball courts. We have them on Union Avenue School, and during the summer, there were usually 12 people playing and up to 16 to 30 people waiting. We need more pickleball courts. I propose that you redo the open spaces, put down lines for the pickleball courts, and then we can have removable nets. So then when we have an excess of players, or we're trying to teach beginners, children, old people, and everybody in between, that they can learn and they can play, and not so many people are waiting. We also could use wind nets because it's a windy area, and we could use shade for the people who are sitting out there. A lot of people bring their own chairs because there's not enough chairs for the people who are waiting to play. And there's no cursing, there's no loud music. The two kids who were working there were the only ones with with music, and that wasn't loud because we're concentrating on scores and strategies. So that's what I'm here on behalf of everybody who plays. And it's become a situation where people come from New York and Washington, and they can look up on a website where there's pickleball. The only one on the island is Margate, so they come over to play. We play from 8 to 12, and it doesn't even go that long, and then I think they start again at 4 to 8. Any questions?
Thank you.
If I may, Mike?
Sure.
Thanks for coming in. It's a great sport. We love it here in Margate, and I can tell you that I know our recreation director is looking into exactly what you're asking for. If not all the points, most of them, and we will relay to him. I think the future looks bright for additional pickleball courts.
Well, he said that he wasn't going to resurface the open area. I'm put down lines. And I think that's important with the nets that we can bring out. So when you need that space to park or a special activity, we won't play there, but it'll be available to us all.
We can look at it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Are you still going to challenge me to the pickleball?
I don't play that well. But
Neither do I. Anyone else? Any other comment?
Art Quattilli, 114 North Lancaster Avenue. A number of months ago, the school wanted to replace the air exchangers on the roof of Ty, and I had hoped that they wouldn't get the bond they requested to replace them because I thought they were running fine, and if there was any problem, maybe one would go down at it, but all 8 wouldn't go down. But the bond went through anyway, and they were funded for over $1 million. And now I find out, I drove by there a number of times, that there's nothing happening with that. In fact, though, I do see a lot of money being spent on repaving a parking lot and redoing the pavement on the side of it. And I parked on that lot many times and never even saw a crack. So I don't know whether they're going to ever spend the $1 million. I know if you don't spend it in a certain length of time, you lose it. And I don't know where it goes. Does it go back to some magical vault someplace or what? But they have to spend it. And for what I understand from the school board, that they can only carry 25% over. So they're kind of time limited here. And I'd hate to see it wasted on paving parking lots that don't need to be done. Thank you.
No, you go. Through the chair, Mr. Cotilli, I'd like to answer at least 2 of your questions. Your first being the paving in the parking lot. It was critical, the condition of the asphalt in the existing parking lot by the PAC was all what we would call alligatored. And it was a trip hazard for the children when they go out to play in the playground. That original asphalt was from 1961 or 62 when the school was built. So if we get 50 years out of a 2-inch asphalt surface, I think we did pretty good. So there was no waste of funds repairing that. Plus, there's activities, basketball courts there, and it's always used for the packed parking when there's major events. The sidewalk definitely needed to be replaced. There were trip hazards. That's the right-of-way. That's basically city property, and they did a great job. As far as the cooling units on the roof, if they don't go through with the project, you're right, the money will be returned back to the budget, and it'll be defined what it's used for somewhere else. But they're still working on the design of changing certain chillers to keep the school up to date. So those are the answers. No, it's dedicated at this time to improvements on the school, and it's designated to those particular items. And from day one, the paving of the parking lot was written into that bond. That was part of the bond.
Anyone else? Public comment? Last,
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. I was just wondering, is there any more updates on the miniature golf? Is anything can be said? We're still working, and it's all systems go?
It's all systems go. We're working forward.
Okay, good. And I'd just like to make a comment on the opioid addiction and all, and I have to agree it's a terrible tragedy for the people involved. And I just, this war on drugs has been lost terribly over a period of maybe 40 years. Really, more could be done. You have to really examine the root causes of some of this addiction. And I know the chief has to deal with the problems that are caused by it, but there's some really like soul searching as a country, where this is coming from, and why people are getting hooked on these drugs. There's a lot of, it really could be, a lot could be done if a sincere effort is made by the government, I think. And I would encourage that. I think it's a terrible tragedy for any family. And it's a tragedy for everybody. So I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Do you know me?
Name and address, please, for the record.
Fred Verna, 7811 Burke Avenue. You don't have to hit that, John. I'll make it short and sweet. Every October, I do the same thing. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Let's not forget that. Make sure everybody gets tested. It's very important. It doesn't kill you anymore if you catch it early. So October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Let's get out there and get tested, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll be back next meeting to do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Anybody else? Last chance. Motion to close public comment, please.
Move to close public comment.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes,
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
we will now open for public comment on resolutions listed on the agenda. Is there any public comment? I have a motion to close public comment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Johanna?
May I have a motion for Resolution 173, 2017, authorizing payments and claims?
I'll
So
make that
moved.
motion. Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 174, authorizing change order number 3, 2015 state aid?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 175, authorizing the acceptance of work as completed for municipal building playground upgrades?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 176, authorizing the acceptance of work as completed for Amherst Avenue bulkhead repairs?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 177, authorizing the acceptance of work as completed for Thai School storm sewer upgrades?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We're busy.
May I have a motion for Resolution Number 178, authorizing the acceptance of work as completed 2015-16 state aid road program?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Yeah.
Third.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion authorizing, or for Resolution 179, authorizing grant accept application for reconstruction of Atlantic Avenue?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution Number 180, authorizing refund for overpayment of water and sewer for Block 304.01, Lot 19?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 181, expressing opposition to legislative proposal regarding the Open Public Meeting Act and Open Public Record Act?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 182, authorizing tax lien refund?
Make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 183, authorizing notification of tax appeals to Business Administrator, Chief Financial Officer, and Commission?
Make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 184, authorizing disposal of surplus property?
Make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 185, 2017, authorizing award of contract for Sigmund S. Rim Tennis Courts?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker,
No.
Commissioner Amadeo,
No.
Commissioner Blumberg.
No.
May I have a motion to authorize or re-advertise for bids?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo.
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 186, authorizing approval to submit and execute a grant application for FIT radio grant?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker,
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo.
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution Number 187, authorizing submission of grant application SST 2018?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker.
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo.
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yes.
A motion for Resolution 188, authorizing submission of grant application for Bikes 2018.
Make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker.
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo.
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 189, authorizing rejection and re-advertisement of bids for 2016 state aid reconstruction of Winchester Avenue?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution Number 190, authorizing signature on New Jersey DEP application for Harbor Bay LLC?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion for Resolution 191, authorizing signature on New Jersey DEP application for Barbary Coast Marina LLC?
Make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Thank you, Johanna. Very well done. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
You want to get a clarification on that? It was a unanimous vote, no vote on which one?
180.
The tennis courts to go out to bid again.
185.
Okay, but you were voting yes to have it.
We voted yes to go out for bid.
We're going to
For reauthorization.
re-advertise,
You
to
said no.
rebid.
We
They
voted,
voted
Two
no
of
to
them.
award the contract.
No
No,
to
no,
award the
the
contract.
contract, but yes to go out.
Go out
for
to bid.
To rebid.
Okay.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
And I really mean to adjourn the meeting.